What is the difference between the tribal people and the pilot? Only one thing. The tribal people doesn't know how to operate the mechanisms. The pilot knows how to operate it. Just like that, most of us, we do not know how to operate the system. The system given to us by God is an unknown thing. Somebody is using it as a bullock cart, somebody is using it as a tractor, somebody is using it as an aircraft. The system given to us, see the same system, tribal people are used as a bullock cart, an educated man is used as a tractor, pilot has used it as an aircraft. What is the difference between these three people? Nothing. The system is same, but the man is knowledge. Just like that. The system is given to us by God. Most of us, 90% of us use this system only as a bullock cart. Taking birth, eating, drinking, reproducing, dying, over. Nothing much is achieved in our life. A few Benzes, few bungalows. If you weigh your life, it's few Benz, few bungalow, little bit of moving here and there, over. Nothing much. Few children. Nothing much is a life. A normal course of life. Taking birth, reproducing and dying. Nothing much is achieved. Nothing new has happened. Nothing great has happened to the consciousness, to the being. Nothing worth mentioning has happened. Somebody came and asked me, Swamiji, why in the cemeteries, in all the graveyard, it is called born and died. Born, such as the date, died, such as the date. Why? Nothing worth mentioning happens in between. That is only two worth mentioning things in most of our life. That is the reason, born and died, except birth and death. Nothing worth mentioning happens in our system. So most of us use the system as a bullock cart. We just use it in a minimum level, dull, dead, dragging. Most of our life, if it is tuned, it can be tuned only, dull, dead, dragging. This is the first level, first layer of life. The second layer of people who has entered into the zone of art, who have become artists, who have become the painters, dancers, musicians, who enter into the next dimension of their life, not for money's sake. If you dance just for your being's beauty, if you sing just out of your bliss, if you paint just out of your joy, you became a painter, or a dancer, or a musician. The next dimension of your life, when you explore, you use your system as a tractor. A man with a simple head can never become Tagore. If you want to become a Tagore, you need to have your next dimension. Persons like Tagore, Van Gogh, all these great scientists are the next layer. They can be called as something more than scientists because they explore the next dimension. That is the reason the Nobel is given for giving them. Gitanjali, the monumental works are the great dancers. When they create the masterpieces of dance or the art or the poetry, they explore the next dimension of their being. They explore, they see the next dimension of their being. So these are the people who became tractors, who see the next level of their life, fulfillment. That is the reason the great poets, even if they die in poverty, even if they die with no property and in poverty, they have a very deep, satisfied depth that they have lived their life ultimately. That they have lived their life with a fulfillment. They may live in a very poor way. They may not have wealth. They may not have the outer wealth, but they live in a rich way. Wealth is different, richness is different. They may not have the comforts, but they live in a very rich way, like a kings. And if you read the Bharati's life, Bharati is a great poet from Tamil Nadu. If you read his life, he is living in a very poor way. But if you see the way in which he lived, simply a royal way. He lived more like a king than like a beggar. You can see all the poets, great poets, they are not living wealthy way, in a so-called wealth, the outer comforts, but their life is really rich because they have seen the next dimension of their being. They know the ecstasy of the human being, of the human possibilities. Whatever way you can express your being, the possibilities of human being, the next dimensions of possibilities they have touched. The third layer, only a Buddha, Krishna, Rama. These are the great enlightened masters who have used their system as an aircraft. These are the few people who have used their system as an aircraft. Majority, 90% of us used as a bullock cart. 8 or 9% who are artists, are the great dancers, great poets, they use as a tractor. Only a handful of people. See, if you want to know the human history of humanity, you don't have to read the millions of people who have taken birth and died. All their history is not necessary. Just read 10% history. The Buddha, Krishna, this 10% life history is more than enough to know the whole history of humanity. These are the people who are the milestones on the human history. These are the people who have created turning points in the human history. Just like that, if you know the few man's history, you can know the whole history of the humanity. These few enlightened persons are the persons who have used their system as an aircraft. Not even, there is no need even to have 2 fingers, 2 hands. 1 hand is enough to count this type of people. Very handful of people. Buddha, Krishna. These are the very few who have a great impact on the humanity, who has used their system as an aircraft, who are real pilots, are the pioneers of the human evolution, of the human growth. If you see the difference between the villager, the tribal man, and the pilot, nothing much. Only one thing, the villagers don't know how to operate the mechanism. The tribal people, they know how to operate the system. That's all. Nothing. The tribal people, they don't know the mechanism. The pilot, he knows the mechanism. Nothing else is the difference. Only a very small difference. It is not that something needs to be added. No. Only one difference. They don't know, he knows. That's all. Just like that, if you know how to use your system or mechanisms in your body, in your mind, in your being, you can become a pilot. You can use this system for the optimum result. You can use this system for the maximum result. You can convert this system into an aircraft. The mechanisms which exist in your system is what is called chakras. There are 7 chakras in our being. The energy centers. These energy centers are real mechanisms in our system. If you know how to open them, how to activate them, how to remove blockages from them, how to energize them, you can simply transform your system into aircraft. As as long as you do not know anything about that system, you will be just pulling your being. If you just know how to open, how to energize, how to activate the system, you will be using the same system, same mechanism as an aircraft. So now we will be entering into each and every system, each and every mechanism of your being, and we will explore how to operate it, how to open it, how to work on the chakra, on the energy center. Let me show you how the chakras are situated. A small diagram, very small, I think all of you will be able to see how the chakras are situated. If you have this book, you can just open the page 20. The lowest is called Muladhara, the root chakra. You don't have to remember the names. You see, there is no need to remember the names of all these things. Just I am giving an introduction. Then afterwards you will be entering into the deeper layers. You don't have to bother, oh I have to remember all these names or what. There is no need to bother. You can just see and have an idea, that's enough. First center is called Muladhara. From below I take the root of the spinal cord. Just at the root of the spinal cord, Muladhara. The next is Swadhisthana. Above the Muladhara, below the navel. On the navel, Manipurara. And in between the chest, Anahata. Then on the throat, Vishuddhi. And between the eyebrows, Anya. Top of the crown, top of the head, it is called Sahasrara. This much is enough. If you know that, if you have a basic idea, few energy centers which exist in our being. Now, we are going to work on each and every energy center, each and every chakra is connected to some emotion of our being. You can see throughout the world, in all the languages, the love and the heart, these two words are used as synonyms. Am I right? The love and the heart, these two words are used as synonyms. Any language, it is not that all the languages are happened or created in one time or one place. All the languages are created in a different space, in a different time. But around the world, almost all the languages have got the same expression. The love and the heart is used as a synonyms. Why? Something more than a verbal connection exists between these two. Some experiential connection is existing. If you really observe, then you can understand. If you meet a friend after 10 years, your childhood friend, after 20 years, with whom you have a lot of very loving and sweet memories, suddenly something will be flowing from here. You can observe. Have you observed, any of you? Suddenly something cool, very nice thing will be happening here in the soul, and it will flow. If you meet a person whom you love after 10 or 20 years, after a long gap, something will happen here. That is the reason, because this is an experience for everybody. That is the reason in all the languages, not only the Indian languages, or Western languages, even in the tribal languages, I have seen at least more than 100 languages I have verified. In all the 100 languages, the love and the heart is synonymous, because it is something to do with deeper emotion. So the love is the emotion which is related to Anahata chakra, the heart center. Just like that, each and every emotion is related to each and every chakra. If you receive any shocking news, or the news which you can't bear, immediately the first effect will be on your stomach. You will have a stomach upset. The stomach will be upset. Either you will have diarrhea or loose motion. Have you observed anybody who had experience? You can always see it's an experiential thing. The first blow will be for Manipura chakra. The worry and depression is very closely related to Manipura. And again you can see in all the language there is an expression. If you receive some news which you can't tolerate, you say, I can't digest it. I can't stomach it. I can't digest it is the expression in all the languages. Again, because the worry and depression is very closely related to Manipura chakra. Like this, each and every emotion, the sex is related to Muladhara chakra. The chakra which is in the near the end of the spinal cord, the root of the spinal cord. Each and every emotion is very closely related to one chakras. If this emotion is handled properly in our life, each and every emotion is an energy given to you by God. It's like a money. If you don't know how to handle the money, you will become bankrupt. Just like that, if you don't know how to handle the emotions, you become energetic. See, if somebody works for you, his work is worth $1,000, you pay him only $1,000. If possible, 900, never 1,100. That is what is a regular way of life. We give him $1,000, not more than that. But if he does a mistake which is worthy of $1,000, how much of anger we pay him? At least $5,000 worth of anger we paid on him. Anger is an emotion. It is valuable thing. If you can pay the anger just like the money, exactly how much is necessary, that much if you pay, you will never go erratic. That is the reason after shouting, we are so tired, we just fall in the sofa and ask coffee. Because it's not that you have done a big work. Just shouting is not a big work. But you feel so much you are drained. Why? Because emotion is energy. All the emotions are energies which is in your center, in your beings. When you use the money in a very loosey way or in a luxurious way or an unnecessary way, when the luxury is something necessary for a life, nothing wrong. But when you spend unnecessarily, lavishly, you become bankrupt. Just like that, when you spend the emotions, when you lose the energies lavishly, you become energy trapped. Each and every emotion is connected to some chakra. If you know how to handle them, how to use them properly, how to balance them clearly, your chakras, your energy centers open. If you don't know how to balance them, if you don't know how to use them, if you misbehave with the energies, see, having or showing too much of anger is a misbehavior with anger. Anger is like Lakshmi in you. If you misbehave with the money, you are misbehaving with Lakshmi. Just like that, if you misbehave with anger, you are misbehaving with your energies. Will you throw a dollar note in the dustbin? Will you throw a $100 note in the dustbin? We always think, oh, it is disrespect to Lakshmi. Just like that, if you throw your emotions unnecessarily, it's a disrespect to your energy. Just like God has given you money, He has given you emotions, energies to run your system, to run your life. When you disrespect, when you throw them out unnecessarily, you show a disrespect on the emotions, on the energies. If you know how to balance, how to run them, if you have an understanding, the chakras open. If you misunderstand or if you misbehave the energies and the emotions, the chakra closes. For a little more understanding, it can be told in the other way. if you know how to give your love, the Anahata opens. If you continuously ask for love from others, Anahata closes. This is the master key for Anahata chakra. Now first we will enter into the heart center. It's a master key for Anahata chakra. If you know how to give the love, the center opens. If you ask for love, it closes. It's the first master key. One more way you can understand. If the chakra opens, you will give the love. If you give the love, it opens. If you give the love, it opens. If it opens, you give more love. More opening, more love. More love, more and more opening, and more love. It's like a this side circle. Now it is this side circle. More you ask, more it is closed, more it is closed, more and more you ask. The ball is rolling in the down way, this way. It is getting more and more black and more asking. Now we are going to stop the ball by the meditation and start rolling this way. Then more opening. Once the chakra starts opening, the more love overflows. When the more love overflows, the chakra opens little more. When the little more is opening happens, the more love overflows. The ball rolls this way. The chakra rolls this way. The whole program is just to stop the ball rolling this way and start the ball this way. We are going to work on each and every chakra to open the chakra, to see the emotions are balanced, to see the energies are centered. First, in each and every session, we'll have a small discussion on the chakra, then your meditation on the chakra. The meditations are taken from many religions. I wanted to present, or I wanted to prove all the religions are centered on the same thing, the one ideology, how to make you more joyful and more blissful. First, how to make you more joyful. It means how to make you more happy in the life with the outer persons. And then how to make you more blissful. How to make you more blissful without the outer world. First, be joyful with the outer world. Then be blissful without the outer world. So this is the step, this is the reason why the meditation or the religions are born on this world. This is the center core of all the religions of all the world. That is the reason I have taken meditation techniques from Sri Vaishnavism, the religion preached by the great Vaishnavic masters. Each and every session we will have a discussion and then meditation. This way we will have 7 sessions on the 7 different chakras. Finally, tomorrow evening we will be having the energy darshan, which is the peak or pinnacle of this camp. Later on we will be explaining what is energy darshan. Now let us enter into the Anahata chakra, the heart center. First question I receive is, people ask me, Swamiji, I have done bypass surgery, will the chakra be as it is? Will the chakra be there? Whether you went bypass surgery or the angiogram, don't worry, the chakra will be there. Because it is not physical, it is more metaphysical. Any of you can give 2 more touches, I can show you. You have ribbon, you can give me 3 ribbons. Yes, so you can give. I'll show you how the chakras exist. See, it is like 3 bodies. We have 3 bodies. Please be very clear. Don't think you have only one body. The one body which you are using now. The next body which you are using in the dream sessions. When you dream, you will be sleeping. This body will be lying in Chicago. but you will be dreaming as if you have gone to India. Then with which body you are going to India? This body is lying in Chicago only, but you are in India. How can it be? So the body which you are using to go to India, the subtle body, that is called Sukshma Sarira. The second layer body. One is physical layer, another one is Sukshma Sarira. The third layer of body is a Karma Sarira, which is called the causal body, which you use in the deep sleep. When you fall asleep without even dream or the wakeful state, in a deep layer, in the third layer, now what you are using is a physical body. What you use in the dream is subtle body. The body which you use in the deep sleep is called causal body. You have three bodies in your system. The three bodies, they meet and merge in 7 different points. They meet with each other. You can imagine the 7 knots in these 3 kerchiefs. If you can imagine a 7 knots, just 7 different knots in a 7 different places. If you can imagine, that is the places which is called chakras. The 7 different knots, you can have it. The 7 different knots are called chakras. The first thing we are going to enter is Anahata. Here also the 3 bodies meet and merge each other. In the book it is very clearly depicted. The 3 lines, they just meet near. That is the zone where the chakra is there. They just meet where chakra starts. So even if you undergo bypass surgery, the chakra will be there as it is without any blockage, because it is more metaphysical. This chakra is love. When you ask for love, when you ask for attention, please be very clear, I am changing the word from love to attention need. Because whatever you know as love is nothing but attention. If you say somebody loves you, what do you mean by it? He gives attention to you, that's all. He gives all his attention, or all his time, all his money, all his energy, or all his space to you. Attention is what we call as love. Actually, except a man who is enlightened, nobody can know what is really meant by the word love. Whatever we know about love is nothing but attention. If you say that he loves me or she loves me, what it means? She gives you enough of attention. He gives you enough of attention. He gives you enough of his energy or money or whatever. Once the attention is given, everything else is slowly given. So the attention is what is called love in our language. When you ask, when you give your attention to others, the chakra opens. When you give your attention to everybody, whomsoever asks, when you leave overflow, this chakra opens. When you start giving, this opens. When you start asking, this chakra closes. You can just see, you can just scan your life. Almost all our life is just centered on the attention of the others. From the young age, we are trained, you can see the young kids. They will just put 2-3 steps and then they will look at your face. If you smile, you agree for what they do. Then they do the next steps. Otherwise, they stop and they wait for your concern. You can see in the young kids, anything they do, just they look at your face for the confirmation, for your okay. Only when you say okay, they go for the ahead. And they wait. Just like from that age, we start expecting the attention or the okay from the others. The same thing continues till our end. You can see in how many places you just wait or expect the others okay, others attention. you can see more than 80% of your decision is influenced, or it is weighted, you just wait, or you just ask for their confirmation, for the others' smile. It is not only economically, mostly psychologically. You feel inspired, or you feel regenerated, you feel power or the energy only when you get a confirmation from the others. Each and every move of your life, you continuously see whether somebody confirms it or not. You wanted the smiling face of the other. Almost it's like a psychological slavery. In every step, you wanted the other to be the source of your inspiration. If you just scan, you just sit in your room and scan the lifestyle in which you are living, almost 90% of your decisions, 90% of your life is just for the other's opinion, asking the other's attention, expecting the attention of the others, expecting the opinion of the others. It is more like a signature campaign. Each and every husband expects the certificate from wife, good husband. Wife is expecting the certificate, the good wife. Parents, good parents. Son is expecting a good son. Each and every system we expect certificate from our brother, from sister, from father, from son, from everybody. Just to feel good, just to feel energetic, we expect the certificates. Only with a smiling face or with a certificate we go next. We go ahead. You see, adjusting is perfectly okay. There is a vast difference between adjusting and compromising. Listen thoroughly and we can contemplate on it thoroughly. We may ask, should we not adjust? Adjusting is perfectly okay, but compromising is very bad. Just understand what is the difference between adjusting and compromising. Adjusting is like that. You have all your energy source or inspiration or the strength within you. Then you give your love. You adjust for the sake of others. It is perfectly okay. But compromising is, unless they are all supporting you psychologically, you will have no energy to run on your own. When you adjust in that so, you are compromising. Most of our life, we have somebody else as a psychological strength for us. If he smiles at you, you have all your energy to run. If he does not open his mouth, if he doesn't smile, the whole day you will feel depressed. Have you observed any time? If he doesn't smile on you, as soon as early morning when you wake up, if he doesn't give his smile, whole day you will feel very low. If some of your boss or the husband or the wife or the son or the father, if some of them didn't give their attention or their smile at you, immediately you will feel low. It means they are the legs or they are the feet for you to stand. A psychological slavery, psychological handicap feeling. I call that psychologically handicapped. In America, I saw so much of respect is given for the handicapped people. Everywhere you are parking for separate parking for handicapped, separate way for the handicapped people, separate bathrooms or restrooms for the handicapped people. Everywhere. Physically handicapped is much okay, nothing wrong. But psychologically being handicapped is a simply sin. Please be very clear. I am giving a new definition for sin. Don't think sin is something what you traditionally understand. Sin is something scolding others or telling lie. Of course, that is different. But I am giving a new explanation for sin. Sin is psychologically dependent on others. That is the first sin. Because when you psychologically depend on others, you try to possess them. understand how many ways you have invested your energies on the others. Most of our business becomes failure. Why, you know? Till the business project comes to a shape, 90% is a project is over. Till the time you get a inspiration or smile or a okay from your inspiration source. At one point, if that is removed from you, if the inspiration source is lost, immediately the whole thing tumbles down and goes to pieces. Have you seen the children playing with a playing car? They just build a castle. They just build a house with a playing cars. If you remove one car, what will happen? At least the children are intelligent. They build their castle with their own cars. But you build a castle with others' cars. When he gives a certificate, a good husband, you collect that. Good wife, you collect that. Good brother, collect. Good sister, good son, good father. You collect all the certificates and try to build your personality. Just like a car's castle. And if anyone at any time takes away their certificate, removes their certificate, their source, what will happen? The whole personality just collapses. That is what I call depression. Most of your energy is centered on somebody else. Only if they say, psychologically you have a setup, only if they say what you do is right. Even if it is right, you are not convinced. You ask for their certificate. You ask for their attention. That is the reason, till the end, you don't feel you are independent. How much you speak about independence, how much you speak about freedom, it is all only the word. Only when you start loving others, when you don't expect the love from others, when you stop expecting the attention from others, you are really independent. Till the time you are a psychological slave. Whatever you speak about independence or freedom, you are a psychological slave. Because your source of energy depends on others. Only if he smiles, you can run. If he doesn't smile, what will happen? You will not run. You will feel very low. You will feel very dull. You will feel very depressed. The source of inspiration, as long as the source of inspiration is somebody else, you cannot have your freedom, your anahata cannot be active. Your energy center can never be totally awakened, totally alive. First thing, find out where all you have invested your energy center, on whom all you are dependent. Please be very clear on whom all you are dependent psychologically. You need how many smiles to run. Try to reduce the number of smiles. Even without that smile, start running. Even without that okay, start running. I am not telling you to go against the society, no. Do your same routine, same lifestyle, but try to reduce the number of smiles. Don't expect, don't keep them, don't make them as the source of inspiration. There are few things which you may not be able to drop at all. Then at least keep them in a good rapport, so that at the time of emergency, let them not take away their cars. If they take away their cars at the time of emergency, then you fall into the real deep depression. So try to become independent. Try your best to be on your own. Try to center all your energy at your own heart, at your own source, at your own personality, at your own being. When you feel you are not able to cut or you are not able to run without one person's smile, understand that I am not able to run without these 2-3 persons, and at least keep a compromise with that 2-3 persons. You will know that I am compromising with the 2-3 persons. I am not serving them, I am compromising with them. Please be very clear. Don't expect any reward for your compromising. Many of us we think I have served my husband so many years. All these duties I did, but I never had any reward. He never did anything for me. Be very clear. If you really serve, always you will have a reward. But all our service is just compromise. He is the source of inspiration for us, so we compromise something. So be very clear. All your work, all your attitude of seva. We again and again tell, I took care of my son so much. I did so much for my son. After growing, he never did anything for me. He went away with his wife. Be very clear. If you have done really service, if you would have done really something, if you would have given, you would have never lost. We just give and take. He is the psychological support for us, so we compromise with him. Just scan or filter all your emotions, all your understandings, revise completely where all you have failed, where all when you take decisions, you are dependent on others. This one understanding can give you a tremendous strength on your own, to stand on your own, to run on your own. When you understand it's a slavery, you will never invest your energy on others. As long as you understand only problem, people say, Swamiji, I understand the smoking is bad, but I am not able to stop it. Then be very clear, never till you understand. If you really understand, you can never fight, you can never again smoke it. Do you say, I understand, if I put my hand in the fire it will burn, but I am not able to resist the temptation to put the hand? You never say that. Once when you understand the hand, if I put my hand, if I put my finger in the fire, I will get burnt. You never do it again. You always keep yourself away from the fire. The same way, if you really understand that it is a psychological slavery, simply you can see, you can be so clear, you can be very clear, it will transform your life. Only thing we don't understand. Have this understanding after going back to the house and after a few days. Just sit in your room alone and scan your life, where all you have invested your energies, who are all inspiration sources for you, and try to organize, try to bring all the energy center on your own being. Don't let somebody else to drive you. If you keep somebody else as an energy source, you are allowing somebody else to be a driving force for you. So naturally you will be living for somebody else. When he is the inspiration source, naturally you have to take his ideas and work out. You have life or the time only to live your desires, not all everybody's desires. If you try to live 5-6 persons' desires on your life, where is the time? Where is the energy? Where is the money? No. When we try to live somebody else as an inspiration, we have to live their desires also, because they will be giving their ideology also. Whenever they are inspiration, they will give their ideology. So you will be dancing for so many persons' tunes. You can dance for one tune. In front side somebody is putting Bharatanatyam. You go and put 2-3 steps. Then this side Western music. You shall just come and shake your hip. And then this side immediately some Carnatic music is going on. Then you have to jump here and do for one more tune. And back side Kathakali is going on. You have to go on 2-3 steps. How will it be? The whole thing will be a mess. Now our life is nothing but that. Each and every tune you try to dance. Will it be possible? No. It will never be possible. If you try to dance for one tune, your life will be successful. Even if you don't know dancing, you will create new dancing. What you do is what is dance, you see. It is not a dance, it is not some basic rule. If you don't do according to that, it is not dance, nothing like that. I have seen all the great dancers are unique. People who go beyond the rule, and still if they maintain the grace, they are the successful dancers. People who maintain the rule, I have always seen they are only mediocres. In any field, when you go beyond the rule and still you maintain the grace or the beauty, then you are a successful dancer. Either in a classical dance or the western dance. Go beyond the rule and maintain the grace, you are successful. So, anywhere, only when you have your own individuality, only when you have yourself as a center, you can be successful. So, here is a beautiful meditation technique from a Tibetan Tantra, the Tibetan Buddhism, to center your energies. Now, a small understanding you have about this Anahata, then you will be entering into the meditation or the technique to center your energy. After that meditation, you will be entering into one by one sessions. Now, before entering into the meditation, we will have few minutes for question and answer. Of course, due to short of time, otherwise, generally I make everyone to question. Even if they don't have a question, I tell them at least tell few words. I try to involve everybody. I keep the list. People who attended the other age, they know. I make everybody to ask, but now I think we may not have so much of time. At least few questions I will try to respond to. Yes,
A few things like if somebody says don't put the hand in the fire, we don't because we know it burns either by feeling it or by experiencing it. But at the same time, there are some things, though we know we shouldn't do it, but we are still doing it. Is it psychosomatic because it's comforting and we really do it?
One small story. One man came and told me, Swamiji, last week I read a book which explains very seriously the dangers of smoking. How they get cancer, how many problems come due to smoking. Then I stopped. I asked him, oh, you stopped smoking? He told, no, I stopped reading. You see, actually, if you know very clearly the fire burns, you don't put your hand. The problem is, first when you put your hand in the lighter fire, you get burnt. Then you think, I think lighter fire only burns. If I put my hand in the oven, it may not burn. Let me check. You put your hand on the oven. Then, oh, oven fire also burns. I think if I can put my hand in some other candle, let me see. You put your hand in the candle. Just like that, you try with each and every fire. Finally, when you understand all the fire burns, your body will be burned because the age will be over. You end up in that age, your age will be over. It's more like that. The understanding is not deep. If the understanding is deep, you can never go beyond it. We don't allow the understanding to sink deeply. See, whenever you receive some intellectual conclusion, you don't allow the intellectual conclusion to work on your emotional layer. If you allow the intellectual conclusion to work on your emotional layer, you never go beyond it. The allowing the intellectual conclusion to work on the emotional layer is what I call it meditation. Meditation is nothing but allowing the intellectual conclusion to sink deeply into the emotional layer. Now you understood few things. If you meditate, that time, the meditation technique will allow the intellectual conclusion to sink deeply into the emotional layer. That's what they call in Vedanta Sravana Manana. Sravana means listening. Manana means allowing it to sink deeply. Most of the time, we don't give space or the time to allow the intellectual conclusions to sink into the emotional layer. So once the intellect is allowed to sink into the emotional layer, you will always see nididhyasana, transformation happens. It should not be done. No desire should be suppressed. No transformation can be done. It should only happen. See, flower, if it automatically flowers, then it is really flower. If you just open a lotus, in many temples I have seen they open the lotus and the floweriness will be missing in the lotus. The floweriness will be missing in the flower. Only if it blooms or if it flowers by itself, it has got beauty. You can do few things, you can allow the transformation to happen. You can put them inside and wait a little bit, you will see the transformation happens. But we neither give time or the space to seek in, or we are too urgent to see the transformation. The desire for transformation is so pushing, so urging us. You see, the desire for the outer object and the desire for transformation, both are not the same. When you desire too much for the outer object, you make mess of it. Just like that, if you desire too much for the transformation, you make mess of it. Put the idea aside, just wait for a little. Allow the seed to sprout. A small story. Once 3 monkeys, they got a mango. They were living in a forest, they got a mango fruit. If one monkey gets a mango fruit, you know what will happen. The 3 monkeys, they already worked for that. So all the 3 has to have a share of the mango. Now the problem starts. How to share? Finally all the 3 monkeys, they got together and they have decided, see, this one mango we 3 cannot share. We will plant this mango, pour water, put fertilizers. Then it will become tree. We all will have enough of mangoes when it becomes tree. They all decided, they put they planted the mango. See, the first monkey took the responsibility of pouring water, the next took the responsibility of putting the manure or the fertilizer, the third took the responsibility of security of the seed. All the 3 were doing their duty so religiously for 6 months. For more than 6 months. Still the seed has not sprouted. So all 3 called for a conference. All the 3 sat together and they started discussing. The first monkey told, you see, every day I am pouring the water religiously. Every day morning I pour water. Not even one day I missed. I miss my morning walk, but I never miss pouring water. I don't know what is happening. The next monkey told, every day 4 o'clock I put the manure and fertilizers. I don't know what is happening, why it is not coming. The third monkey told, you see, 24 hours I stand here as a security. I don't go anywhere else. And not only that, above all, every day I just dig it out and see whether it is sprouted or not. You see, every day when you dig it out and see, it can never sprout. Pour water, put manure and wait for a few days to sprout the seed by itself. Just like that. We listen something now and we do meditation for 20 minutes. Immediately expect, oh, still no, nothing has happened. Still no transformation has not happened. So wait for some time. Give little space for the seed to sprout. Allow the conclusion to sink in and do the meditation. The conclusion is the seed. Meditation is the manure. Just wait, give little bit of space or the time to seed to sprout. Otherwise, we will be digging just every day and see what the monkey has done. We will be doing the same thing. Just the digging itself will drop them, will stop the sprouting. Digging creates a guilt. You see, I have seen many people, as soon as you hear these things look so nice and so well put, immediately you start working it out. When you start immediately, naturally you will feel you will have one or two pitfall. Then you create a guilt. Oh, I am not able to do, I am not able to see. The guilt that I am not able to stop smoking creates more trouble than the smoking itself. The guilt becomes so deep thin layer in your life. You decide, I cannot put all these things into the life. I cannot practice. The Swami can practice because he has lived all his life, but I cannot practice. You come to a conclusion that these are outdated ideologies. This cannot be practiced just by one or two pitfalls. That's the reason I'm telling. Allow the transformation to happen. You will see it always happens. I have not seen single seed die. Maybe in the outer world, seeds may die. In the inner world, no seed dies.